Hi Soul Tribe, happy Friday. Sorry about the late notice and there's drilling upstairs like OMG, sorry, it's gonna be crazy. So, hello, welcome. I have some really cool, powerful cards that I drew today that I want to talk to you, that I want to share with you, and I want to talk to you about the energy of yes. Because that's coming up so strongly, and how to read your own energy as far as making decisions. So, hello and welcome. If you're here, drop me a comment, send me some love so I know you're here. Hey, Juliet, good to see you. So, first card, you guys, is this one, Dana. It says, you have divine knowledge that can help others through your spiritual teaching. How cool is that, right? So this one from my favorite deck, Work Your Light. This is the card I draw all the time. I swear it's trying to tell me something. Warrior Woman. And it says, have you answered your deepest calling? I want to read this to you because it's so powerful. You are here for a reason. You're being called to bravely pave a path. Have you answered your deepest calling? Living a heart and soul filled life is not all fluffy and smooth sailing. Living a heart and soul led life requires courage to triumph over fear. So often our fears are gatekeepers to our greatest gifts. And the more resistance we have toward answering the call, the more important it is to our soul's growth. Sometimes fear is an indication that we're actually facing the right way. Joan of Arc was known for her courage and her famous line, "I'm not afraid. I was born to do this." But the thing about courage is it's not possible without fear. So if you're feeling afraid, what is needed is courage. And courage comes from living from the heart. Think of your fears as opportunities to expand rather than things that are holding you hostage. If you look at your fears in this light, as uncomfortable as it might feel, it's actually a sign that you're on the right track. I follow this coach called Michelle Barr, and she's really cool. She says that when you decide to do something and you take a step forward, every single thing that has prevented you from doing that will show up. Like if you are wanting to find the love of your life and you say, okay, I'm in a date, and then you jump into the ring and what comes up is your fear of intimacy, that's what's going to show up because that's what's been stopping you from getting that thing you want. So I really love that perspective of like, let's look at our fears and let's dance with them. Hey, Jacqueline. So instead of pushing them away, they're messengers. They have things to say to us. You can sit down with your fear and say, what is the message here? What am I afraid of? What's my brain trying to protect me from? And what's possible if I sort of dance with this fear and move with it forward? Cool? Yeah. Okay, and the last card I drew was Truth. So, oh gosh, you guys, I just love this spread. I just want to show you all together. Truth, Warrior Woman, and High Priestess Dana. Oh my gosh, how powerful. Okay, so Truth. I want to read this one too. It's short, but it's really great. Card meaning, find your truth. Be honest with yourself and speak your heart. Walk your talk and follow your inner guidance in all activities. You are the truth. Listen for what's sincere and honest in others. Your soul wants you to know. Often the hardest thing about living your truth is knowing what that is. There's a place inside you that always knows what's true for you and what isn't. Sometimes it takes sincere silence and deep stillness to find that voice. But once you discover it, let go of anything in your life that isn't authentic. Release relationships that don't empower you and situations where you find yourself being less than honest for fear of being judged or not accepted. Miracles follow when you take the time to be genuine. Affirmation, I live my truth. And Juliet, you were just talking about this on my post yesterday. So beautiful. Have you ever followed the energy of yes, even though maybe it didn't look good on paper? And I love that. I love your answer of like, yeah, I quit my job and I'm going for it just because it feels like the truth. And this has been coming up for me so big too. Yesterday, I got this wild hair that I was going to go, sign up for a certification in personal training. And it kind of was out of left field, but I'm telling you, the energy was yes for me. It was all over the place, yes. And I didn't quite understand it, nor did it look really financially like a good idea or on any other front. but the energy was yes. And I know myself well enough to know what yes feels like. And I didn't know. I was kind of like, well, I think I'm going to do it. I'm not sure. And then I had this conversation with my own coach last night. And I was telling her about this. And she was saying that, oh my gosh, I've totally been wanting to work with a personal trainer who was trauma informed, because when I have my trauma come up, it looks like I freeze and I can't work through it. So the personal trainer doesn't understand. And I would love to have someone like you who's studying trauma and also is a personal trainer. And I was like, head explode, you guys. And there it was. There was a validation. There was a confirmation. There was a piece that I didn't see that put this all together. So my point in all this and sharing this is it's so many times I'm really starting to believe there's a bigger picture than we understand. And our job is seriously to show up, to answer the call. And you don't always understand why you're doing this, but I swear there's a bigger picture. And the key is to really slow down and listen to the energy. You feel it in your body. What does yes feel like? For me, I feel energy. I feel enthusiasm. I'm like, it just kind of takes over me and I'm like, fuck it, I'm doing it, right? When I went to South America, it didn't make sense. It pissed a lot of people off because I put my whole life into a storage locker for 10 months and I was like, whatever, I'm going to go. And it was like a compulsion. I had to do it, even though I couldn't explain it. That's yes to me. It might look like something different to you. So when you see it, when you feel it, even more importantly, what does it feel like in my body? How can you honor that? How can you stand in your truth? How can you move forward and trust that this is you're being guided towards something on a bigger path than sometimes your earthly eyes can see? I fully believe that right now. And the other thing is the no is also important. What's the energy of no feel like to you? For me, it feels dread. It feels like I have to try to convince myself to do it because I should do it. And I don't want to. It's like trying to push a boulder up a mountain. It just feels arduous. It feels hard. I feel drained. That's no for me. And it takes time to honestly understand and identify your no. It's going to be different from every other person. Like, it's just a personal experience, right? So find your no and what that feels like. And also, how can you have the courage, the support that you need to follow that, right? Do you need to let go of some of these naysayers that have to do it by the book? Do you need to find peers and mentors and support groups and entrepreneurs who are feeding you enthusiasm and optimism? What do you need to stand in your truth? And the last thing I want to say about that is that sometimes it's really subtle, and that's where it gets tricky. Like, you're in a situation and it's okay, but there's like a tiny little twinge of your intuition going, or there's a little red flag that you're like, oh gosh, this feels not quite right. And there's such a tendency in our society to just power through and do it anyway. And I'm encouraging you to pay attention to those. Because a lot of times, speaking from experience, if I ignore those tiny little flags, they become bigger, and then suddenly years later, I'm in a situation that I can't really get myself out of very easily. I'm in a career path that I don't want. It doesn't feed me. I'm in a job that I need to pay the rent. I'm in a relationship that I can't get out of, easily. So pay attention to these little nuances. I really feel like they are your superpowers, especially if you are empathic, sensitive, intuitive, which so many of you are, because that's really common in the healer tribe. Also with trauma survivors, we are tuned up, you guys. We have spidey senses because our lives depended on us reading the energy of people and the rooms as a child. We had to know, oh, that looks like something's going to hit the fan in a minute. So honor your intuition, honor your gut feeling, honor the wisdom that says, gosh, this isn't quite right, or honor the feeling that says, man, this doesn't make any sense at all, but it's a yes, okay? That is your truth. and stand in it. Okay? Awesome, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Leave me some love. Leave me some comments. Let me know what you think about this. Share some stories. Let's encourage each other. Have a great weekend, you guys. Okay. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.